Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Triforce Tactics Podcast. I have to check the title to see what number it is. It's number 37. Welcome back. Anything greater than EU, as you can tell by the title. And, that sentiment may or may not be confirmed by our guest today, which is Panda, if you want to say hi really quickly.
Hello.
Yeah, you may recognize Panda from if you watch any EU events, obviously very large presence in the casting scene over there. And then if you watch Mortdog Madness this past weekend, he was also casting there, and it was very, very good show. Definitely recommend watching that if you haven't. But before we get into all that, hello, I'm SpicyAppies, your host, as always. Joined today by my co-hosts Riley and RamKev. You can say hi in any order. We'll get down eventually.
Which one? I ask this every week. Which one's Riley and which one's RamKev this time?
I specifically called dibs on RamKev because RamKev has accomplished many things this week. So I need dibs.
Okay, so no one has called dibs on Appies, so I'm Appies this week.
Okay, then I guess I'm Riley. We take those. Okay. We have the hair. I guess I'm kind of losing the hair, but we're close enough.
You have
still.
to re-dye it pink in order to reclaim Riley.
Yeah. Yeah. So as we always do, we'll talk a little bit about our weeks. My week's been great. I've just been okay, except a little bit today, TFT wise. I lost like 200 LP today in like 4 games. It was kind of rough. Like 8. But I played some Pokemon this week, which was really fun with Kevin and Dax and Alex. And then I got a cat today whose name is Maurice, and he's the cutest fucking cat. He's chilling in the other room. He's getting used to the house. But no, he is so cute, and he's just adorable. He's 4 years old. We found out the age when we got there because it wasn't posted online. And no, he was like, so when he got there, he was like, he was way up near the ceiling on this little platform. And the guy was like, yeah, he probably won't come down, so we'll just go up there. You got like steps to 11. I said, we'll go up there to say hi. And then he just came down and like hung out with us, and it was so cute. And now he's ours. So
Nice.
We've taken him hostage. And gonna bombard him with love and cat. Never mind. I don't know. Anyways, how have you been?
Bombard cat with cat? Hold up.
How have you been, Riley?
I
don't know.
A lot. This week has been exhausting. I don't know. There's just too much personal stuff happening that I do not feel like talking about because, that's a bad idea. I started voice training last week, so that's fun. I wrote a twit longer actually like a few hours ago talking about like some of my vocal dysphoria and casting. Now it's like kind of holding me back a little for now, but also I started voice training to kind of like help me get over that and help work on my caster voice. So that's a thing that's happening. Casted Mortdog Madness had gotten another cast.
We didn't even mention Mortdog Man. Oh yeah, that did happen.
It happened. All 4 of us were in that in some form.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, but I almost went like the lowest placing player in the tournament, so I didn't talk about it. And that was not part of my week. It was fun though. It was. Really fun.
I wasn't gonna mention it either, but
casting was fun. I'm a little bit sad that I didn't get to cast with Panda more. It was just us like on the top of show, like the 4 of us desk. But got to cast Casanova again, and we have a thing going now. Like I can definitely feel like we have a lot of synergy. Casting with them is a lot of fun. They're like turning into like not my dedicated partner, but basically my main partner at this point. So that's cool. What else? I have been still doing TikTok, and it's starting to pop off.
Oh,
so
huge.
Fun.
Huge.
Very pog. You're like the social media grind.
Yeah, I really am. I think today's like day 13. No, today's day 14. I hit 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks exactly. But 2 days ago, I hit 1K. Like I hit that in less than 2 weeks. Okay.
People clap.
People clap. That's the thing that happens. So I am on TikTok now at Jirachy TFT. Hi, self-plug. Shameless. That's all.
Let's go.
Life is a lot. That's all I got.
How you been, Kevin?
This week has been super fun. Basically, I guess more Dog Madness happened, but we can skip that for now. I went to watch the new Doctor Strange movie. I got dinner with Jack on Saturday.
How is he?
He's playing TFT.
Oh yeah.
he's on the grind. Let's see what else. The Nuzlocke. Okay, so for this Nuzlocke, there's this one gym that Alex and I were like in a really bad spot for. Appies was watching. Alex was trying to catch a Merc Pro, and he lost 2 months to it. And they were like 2 really, really good mons. And so I was out here with a couple random turds, and Alex had a Citra. So what we did is I spent 5 hours. So basically 2 hours last night off stream, and another couple hours today with Alex, just farming wings on a bridge in the game for EVs. So
the sweatiest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah. it's the game. We're playing Black 2, White 2, and there's an area where you get these wings that give you EVs. So if you don't know Pokemon stats, you can max them out using EVs.
Mm-hmm.
The max is 250 for each stat. And so on average, we were getting about 1 of each wing every minute. So we were just running across this bridge for hours, just doing the same thing over and over again.
And then they destroyed the gym. It wasn't even close.
Yeah. And then we just full sweep the gym. It's actually it paid off so much.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, you guys killed it. You're probably in a better spot than Dax and I were at that point, to be honest. So
I heard that Appies almost wiped on that gym. It was
oh yeah. No, it was close.
Yeah.
My team was really bad for it. I had nothing super effective except for Pig Knight, who gets one shot by Extra Drill. So it was it was a little doomed for me. How have you been, Panda? How's your week been?
I've been good. I had a Mortdog Madness on this past weekend. That was really, really fun. Very cool experience. And then this week, I actually have a cast for Runeterra, the card game from Riot, which is the other game I work on right now, on Saturday. It's kind of the seasonal, so every 2 months, but the season has been a bit longer. It's been 4 months. It's kind of an end of season event, and I've been doing all those at the beginning for EMEA for Europe. And I have that on Saturday. So lots of prep for that and player interviews and behind the scenes stuff. So it's been busy as well. And kind of nice to take a small break from TFT until set 7 comes out, and that gets very busy again, very hectic. So it's been nice, rewarding, but yeah, kind of tiring a bit as well.
That's
question. So cool.
How's Talon been?
Talon has been forgotten since I got the challenger.
What?
I haven't been playing much set 6.5 TFT since then. So
get this guy out. This guy has betrayed the fucking Church of Talon.
But there's a tournament on Sunday that AK Wonder, one of the Spanish top players and content creators, is actually hosting. I never play in tournaments like these, but I said, why not? I signed up. If I have time, I'll play. And if I play, I will only play Talon the entire tournament.
I hope you miss. The Church of Talon does not look kindly upon you.
I haven't played any TFT. It's not like I've played TFT and played other champions. I just haven't played TFT. So I think there's a pass there.
We'll allow it.
I hate his crime regardless. Yeah.
not playing Talon.
So jumping into things here, Panda, if you just want to give us a quick rundown on your history as a caster, what got you into TFT.
Mm-hmm. I started doing content creation online for gaming and stuff. And I was 15, 16 on YouTube with Call of Duty, actually, when kind of YouTube gaming started, 12 years ago now. But I got into casting through Gwent, the Witcher card game. When I played The Witcher when it came out, then the Gwent standalone came out from CDPR in 2017. I hadn't really played strategy games before, but I got into it. I, did quite well as a player, and eventually had a chance to cast for the whole kind of esports circuit that CDPR was doing, and did that for 3 years. So that's where I started, and gained a lot of experience and a lot of offline events and LAN events, and it was pretty big in terms of budget and production for what it was as a game. So it was really nice as a way to kind of get into it, and I enjoyed it a lot. And then I did Artifact for the brief time that the Dota card game was alive. I did Underlords, unfortunately, for the brief time that was alive. as an
Oh my
auto-battler.
goodness! Oh, I can't wait to talk about Underlords because
Never
I
mind. I never played
started with
Underlords.
Underlords. I started with
Whoa,
Underlords.
RamKev, maybe we actually had interactions before. I actually casted the
Potential.
only big LAN there was that we play did. I don't know if you remember.
Oh, I didn't play in any lands. I played.
Okay. It was maybe a bit later because I stopped after like the first 6 months or so.
Mhm.
But the only
No,
big,
I also stopped after like.
Okay. I think the game was only up for 6 months actually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did that event as a caster as well, and it was kind of with CCGs and strategy games. A lot of games have kind of come and died, so it was kind of hectic as a caster because it's very unstable, obviously, to get into a game and put a lot of time into it, and then it just dies for reasons that are not really my fault. But then Runeterra came out, the card game from Riot, and obviously knowing Riot as a company, knowing kind of what they've done with League of Legends, how big they are, and how much they value esports, and how much experience they have, setting up the right systems for it to be, something that players can, like a sustainable thing overall, for casters, for players, for everyone involved. I was really excited, and I've been doing. I kind of went away from Gwent, got into Runeterra 2.5 years ago or so, and have been kind of the official caster alongside Mogwai, a Spanish content creator, and one of the biggest content creators on YouTube as well for Runeterra, for all the European events and worlds and all that stuff. And I got into TFT when it came out, set 1 and set 2, but pretty casually for how I normally get into games. I'm a very competitive person overall. But I played maybe like 100 games of each of those sets, so just the novelty factor was interesting and fun, but I didn't really get too involved. Set 3, I got more involved. I got to Challenger that set. But in hindsight, I think that set was not very competitive compared to what it is now. I think that's when it was still becoming a competitive game and the esports scene started growing, because I don't know how the fuck I got to Challenger in set 3, because I was, in hindsight, not very good at the game. When I started set 6, I'm like, I'm very behind.
No one was, right? No one was good at the game in set 3.
And I think it was like the Mech Assassins, Darkstar.
Yeah, everybody was
the reroll
back
like
in set
Protector
3.
comp, I think, or
Protectors, the fucking reroll Zaya and fucking Candyland bullshit.
Star Guardians, it's so fucking fun. Oh god, I can't.
So I played a
like,
bit in set 3 to like 200 games, maybe not more. And then that's when Runeterra came out. So I stepped away from TFT. I had all my time invested in playing and casting and kind of doing content and stuff for Runeterra, and came back for set 6 and have had a really, really good time in all perspectives, as a player, getting into the game, seeing how much more it has grown in terms of like the scene and the competitive scene and the content and the tournaments and how much more structured it is. And casting wise as well, it's been an absolute blast and definitely exceeded all my expectations when I got into it.
That has to be the most goated like rundown I've ever heard on this podcast. I was like, by far. Like, your resume is fucking insane.
I'm used to just doing.
Wow.
Dude.
Like, actually a decade. I'm pretty sure like this is just gonna happen whenever we get on some like guests with like super rich history. It's just they run through everything. We need to get Frodan on. Because that man is just gonna be just all of us are just gonna be like
Frodan on one side, Panda on the other side, and like figure out who has the more goated history. It's like
I think Frodan has more
Mechagodzilla.
experience than me. He was casting way before me, I think. I guess not new anymore. It feels like I'm still new, but not really. But I think Frodan was already a big name when I started casting. I already knew of him from a long time. Even though I never played Heartstone, I definitely knew of him as a caster and a personality.
Mm-hmm.
My baby ass having been casting for only 5 months.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll get there. Yeah,
that's insane. I want to say something about Gwent actually, because I strictly remember I picked up Gwent and I was in high school because it was the only card game I could play on my PlayStation. Because you could get it on. So that was I got really into it too. Because I liked card games. I just didn't have. I had like a really shitty laptop and no computer, so I was like really into it. But I never watched anything. I know that the you said it was like really well funded for a while, because I know they did their tournaments in towers and stuff, and it looked like the set design was insane.
It was.
Right?
I mean, the problem with Gwent and CDPRs, and I think a lot of card games in general, companies come into the space thinking like they have this like the new best idea and it's gonna pop off, but really CCG's peaked with Heartstone, and ever since then, not that they failed, but I think companies overestimate how successful their games will be and how much they can invest into it. So that kind of happened with Gwent as well, but I was very lucky to be a part of it at the beginning, where there was a lot of investment, a lot of production, a lot of really cool stuff being done. The challengers, which were like the small tournaments were called opens, which were like $25,000 tournaments, which are not very small, but yeah.
Yeah.
The challengers were like 3 per year, like 2 per year, like or 3 per season. Seasons were not a year; they're maybe 2 years, and they were like $100,000 prize pool events, and they were held in really cool locations in a castle in Poland, and like the countryside in Poland, like an actual like castle hotel kind of hybrid, in a salt mine. Like in the bottom of a salt mine, like the whole production was set up. Really. So it was
like
yeah.
That's so cool.
And we had like
so sick.
we had Matthew Mercer from Critical Role come on as like one of the hosts. We had Jesse Cox come in, one of the hosts. So it was really cool as experience and as my proving ground as a caster was I couldn't have asked for like a better way to get into casting, because it really helped me so much in terms of like gaining experience and understanding broadcast and everything. Was really, really cool. And as a game, funny that you mentioned the PlayStation thing, because I actually was a console gamer with Call of Duty and all this before I got into PC gaming. And I played on Xbox originally, Gwent on Xbox, and no one that was good at the game played on Xbox. They were all on PC, obviously. And I was like at one point in the closed beta at the beginning, I got like the first and second place at the same time on like the global ladder as an Xbox player, and it showed on the leaderboard if you were like what platform you were playing on. And people were so surprised, like, what the hell is an Xbox player doing first and second place on ladder? So I had like to explain a lot of things basically, but then I switched to PC, and then that became a more serious thing, I guess.
Yeah, that's insane. I mean, to put in perspective, this is like from how experienced Panda is. While Panda was casting events, I was like a 16-year-old shitter playing Gwent on my PlayStation in like Heartstone Gold. So I mean, absolute honor to have you on the show. 100%. It's so cool. It's so cool.
It's my pleasure. I mean, when I got into Set 6, you guys were one of the podcasts I definitely always tune into and watch, and we were very consistent every week. So it was always a cool way to. I came into the set not knowing that much about the history of the players, what has happened in the past like 2-3 sets in terms of like who's good, who's bad, like what history there is. So I was trying to consume pretty much all content possible to pick up all the information about obviously EMEA players, but also just the NA players as well. So I listened to all the podcasts and every video I could and stuff to try and pick up on past stuff and recent stuff as well.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
Actually,
Okay.
I'm just confession. I don't think I've definitely like randomly watched some Hearthstone event before, but like didn't pay attention to the casting. I've never watched the Legends of Runeterra event. So actually,
maybe you should this Saturday.
I probably should. But I'm curious about how the casting for like card games is actually different, because over in TFT, like it's a strategy game, but we still kind of have a little bit of a play-by-play role happening, because like there's a lot of like super intense moments, either with like players doing like giant roll downs or it's like super close fights. So it's for us, we have that kind of like play-by-play plus a color caster dynamic, even though the play-by-play caster I feel like has been like a lot of times doing some analysis as well. It still mirrors the like FPS and MOBA and like StarCraft and everything that's super mechanically intensive. Our casting kind of mirrors that a little bit. But what's it like over on like the card game side where all that mechanic stuff isn't happening?
I think it doesn't lend itself to be as entertaining. I think, the esports that are at the top right now, they're very entertaining to watch. Even as a non-fan, I don't play League. I've never played League. I play like the getting to, unlocking rank ladder and then playing the game. I'm like, nah, this is not for me. Too much of a learning curve to get good, and I'm very competitive, so I just don't want to deal with that. But I've watched a lot of League and CS:GO. I've never really played at a high level, but I watch a lot of it, and just because it's very like fun to watch the action and everything. So card game, it's different, obviously. More boring. If you don't play the game, you can't watch it because you won't understand anything, and there's no hype moments. There's no, so it's difficult. Obviously, you have to cater to high level players. You have to be a very experienced player and very high level player to even cast, in my opinion, because at the end of the day, players are doing certain strategies, or preparing certain ideas, or certain lines with the decks they're playing, and if you don't understand what they're trying to do, you can't possibly cast, because that's the whole essence of card games and CCGs in general. You have to be able to explain everything the players are thinking about and kind of be in their shoes, which is why I got hired to do the Gwent stuff. It's because I was playing in tournaments as a player at a high level, but I saw casting as a more stable opportunity in gaming overall. So I kind of switched to that, and I think that was a good idea. But yeah, I definitely think you have to there's no way you can't just be good at play-by-play or like some semi-decent at the game. You have to be very, very good to cast at a high level, I think. I'm very lucky that my co-caster for Gwent as well is this Mogwai I talked about before. He's a very energetic and passionate person. And so he gives card games and casting with him something that it really needs, because it's missing a lot of excitement, a lot of hype, and just him as a person. If you guys ever, hear him, you'll understand immediately. Like, he's the typical, maybe not typical, like the Spanish stereotype of like very passionate, very hype, very loud, very excited. So he has something very unique. So it's been like really easy to cast with him for Runeterra. But overall, I think it's much more difficult. The audience is very different, and the type of broadcast and the type of energy you have to have on broadcast is very different. It's more analytical, more calm, I guess, than TFT even.
Yeah, actually, the point you made about at least over in card games, the casters have to be that good at the game. I feel like that's a sentiment kind of echoed in TFT.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the better you are at the game, like the better you're going to be as a caster because you explain all this. But also, not every caster is like that. The standout example to me is actually Boop.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Boop's in like diamonds.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's not a high level player. He's decent, but like he's not the guy that's going to be explaining from like what he knows about the game, what these players are doing. But he's a fucking phenomenal caster anyway.
Yep.
So how do you feel about that kind of over on the TFT side?
That works if you have the right balance. Especially if you have a duo that you've been casting with for a while, and you're able to set that balance properly. Where, especially I think casters that don't have the proper in-game knowledge, if they know how to navigate their commentary and they know how to not put themselves into a spot where they're kind of be showing evidence that they don't have that game knowledge, you can be a caster that's in plat even or diamond, as long as you understand the general macro and strategy of TFT and the units and traits and items and all this. You can skirt around the more in-depth topics and allow your more analytical co-caster to tackle those and not get yourself into trouble, let's say. And still that won't be evident on broadcast, and you can still do a very good job if you have the right balance. But you have to have the right synergy, and you have to have at least someone in the caster pair that's able to carry that weight from the knowledge perspective, or else it is kind of fucked, obviously.
Yeah, I feel like that's what me and Casanova work together so well. It's not just like the two non-binary casters working together. Like it almost was meant to be because of that, but also definitely I was feeling this during Challenger Series, and especially during Mortdog Madness, because it was our second event casting together. It was our third event together, actually. Every event I did the set besides lab partners. Well, I guess lab partners and fight night. So 3 out of my 5 events were with cast in some form.
Mm-hmm.
But with Mortdog Madness especially, because it was my second one casting with him, like he's kind of the same way. He's not like a super high level player, at least in TFT. He probably knows way more about Legends Runeterra.
Mm-hmm.
But at least in TFT, like he's not me, basically. But I feel like we work together so well because he was setting me up so well to just go super in depth about stuff, and that's my strength. And I noticed after I was talking to them, like, I'm not setting you up super well to kind of like respond.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, that's fine. That's not even your job. Your job is to take what I'm giving you and just completely run with it. So yeah, I totally feel that's what's making the two of us work so well. But also, speaking of Mortdog Madness, actually, how was casting with Mort? I have to know.
It was really nice. One of the fears I had going into set 6, because I got into casting for set 6 because the whole project for set 6 was given to GG Tech. It's a Spanish production company, kind of like, let's say, the right-hand arm in terms of production and esports ecosystem for Riot in Europe, with Runeterra as well. So I had a lot of experience with them. They were given set 6. They knew I had played TFT before, and I was interested in getting into casting if I had the opportunity. So I got into it, but it was kind of rushed. And I told them, I would like to do more of a hosting role because I don't like getting into a game to cast it unless I know I'm already at a very high level, because I feel kind of like I don't have the knowledge to back up my casting. So most of this set has been me playing catch up and trying to learn enough to where I feel happy and I'm at a competitive level where I feel like I can reach my standard, let's say, in casting. And casting with Mort, that's the one thing that I was missing, like this super in-depth knowledge that I was still trying to gain throughout this entire set. So casting with him, I can kind of as I mentioned, kind of give him the outlet to talk about the super in-depth stuff and all the numbers. And he's the person that knows the most about TFT because he's playtesting every single balance patch. He has to, and there's like a lot on the line when he's saying things. Like he's proven this already to himself, like internally. So it was super nice to have someone that I could just know is gonna, know everything about the game, and I can completely trust from an information standpoint. Was super liberating in a way. And then it was just more the play-by-play stuff and just usual broadcast stuff. So it was super, super cool. And I think it went great. I had a really fun time with him, and we even had our jokes and kind of a good vibe overall. So I really liked it. And I think the tournament format also lends to this very fun atmosphere.
Yeah. The Tapa show, all four of us, was so much fun. Like the fucking banter, fucking trash talk. I feel we don't get a lot of cross-region desks.
I brought some rep. I'm waiting for the topic to come up.
What jersey is that?
This is a Spanish national team jersey, and from when they won the World Cup in 2010 for football.
Gotcha.
So the star right there we go, symbolizes the World Cup win.
I don't follow sports at all.
I remember that actually. Because in
go.
2010 I was wait, how old was I? I was in middle school. I remember it. It was like 7th grade.
I thought there would be more of a story to this, but it's just
there's I just remember.
You have like
I
a
just
faint.
remember. I'm trying
the TV.
but like
You read like a headline in the newspaper,
2010.
and somehow his brain
No,
registered.
I was following the World Cup that year.
I thought you were gonna
so
tell me you had a career in
yeah.
high school football. Or something.
No. Football.
Okay. Let's not go there then.
I ran track. That was basically.
That's also cool.
Oh, same. Wait, literally same.
I'm also kind of a runner, so we have Appies.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Appies.
Not middle school. No, I'm
No.
not now. But in middle school, I just sat and like ate food. That's all I did in middle school.
It's an important part of living, eating food.
Yeah, I know. It wasn't until later on in life that I began to appreciate exercise. But yeah, that's some cool shit. Like, I actually had one more question before talking about Madness. So I don't know if you know. So I've done some community tournaments in the past, and so I always cast them when I do them. I don't play them right. I cast them, and I am notoriously kind of shit at casting. So if you were to give advice to someone, like get into casting or to get better at casting, what would that be? Do you think it's like a similar learning curve, like training method, I guess, is like getting good at TFT, where you just like watch VODs, put in the hours kind of thing? Or
I think it mostly comes from experience, and I think a lot of it is just inherently people are just more comfortable on air, more confident on air, more, you don't have the nerves issue. You have to have a certain element of kind of this. It's hard to define really why certain casters are good or why certain casters are likable or like charismatic. I think there's a lot of like subconscious elements to why someone might be successful in casting. It's not, you can't just like study it, or some people I think have it and some people don't. I think some people can try all they want and can really prepare for it. But if you don't have a certain, I don't even know what it is, like a lot of very small factors that all become this like one big thing. It's mostly experience, I think. And even when I started casting, I was even like shy with like public speaking in university and stuff when I was studying in Spain. So to be casting like a few years later was like mind blowing to me. Like, how can I be suddenly doing what I hated to do? But I got the experience, and once you have that experience and you especially if you're comfortable with the knowledge you're presenting and the game you're presenting, and I've always been very competitive. So when I casted, I always was playing at a fairly high level for the game. So I always felt comfortable in that regard. I think it comes with experience mostly. I don't think it's something you can necessarily train for. I think there are some ways to train. I'll confess, I haven't done any like professional or like focused stuff to better my casting in terms of like vocal training, or I started doing warm-ups, like vocal warm-ups this like for TFT this set, because we don't one of the casters on the EMEA broadcast team does them, and I'm like, I'll try this out, but I'd never done anything like this. So I think there's still a lot I can do to improve in that sense, but it's mostly experience. And if you have this confidence and you're comfortable on air, you're comfortable, talking and presenting points and all this, then I think with experience and with game knowledge, you mesh those together and you end up getting better and better every time.
Yes,
like
there's no like
very
Mulan montage of like carrying a water bat, like a bucket of water up a mountain.
Not so much.
God
No.
gamer caster.
I feel like it's a very specific type of charisma. Like everyone in this call has charisma to some extent. It's just that very specific type that lends itself to being on an official broadcast that a lot of players just don't have.
Mm-hmm.
like they're very entertaining as streamers, as personalities, but they're not. They don't have that specific type of entertainment value and charisma that lends itself to casting, and I feel like that's the difference. And you can lend that energy to like a co-stream or some more like analyst type stuff, but yeah, casting is a completely different beast. And jumping between the cast and Frodan's co-stream when like during Mortdog Madness was low-key hard. Like I like get myself in the caster mode, especially day one where it was like casting games 1 and 2, had 2 games off, and then jumping back into game 5. Like I did the cast for games 1 and 2. It was feeling good. I was like, I need the break. Okay, let's hop into this co-stream call. And it was just so much more chill. And I did have to like take myself out of caster mode because I was like, I should not be doing this during my 2 games off. But then getting back into caster mode for game 5 low-key was really hard.
On the topic of like official and unofficial, official caster or like official broadcast charisma, I feel like Kevin and I have some big unofficial broadcast charisma.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Don't let me touch
Pants
anything official. I swear, like a sailor.
I love y'all so much, but please never go near like an official like broadcast.
Oh my god, I
cast.
can't wait. Appies and I are gonna come in, crack a broadcast.
Yeah.
We're top
Kevin,
level players, you know.
Wait. we need to co-cast we need to do an unofficial co-cast of one of these tournaments. And we're just like playing melee on the side, like shit talking everyone.
this person is trash. What are you doing?
Oh fuck! I missed my L cancel. That'd be some. I'd love that.
That'd be high quality content.
Yeah, that'd be some good content. Maybe
we actually need to organize a mini like caster tournament with like 8 casters competing, casted by you two.
Oh, that'd be so good.
That'd be so.
Oh, we'd be the best
so
for
funny.
that. We would be so good for that.
We contest talents, Riley. So I'm not sure that's a good idea.
We will hold against 7-8. So shy.
So here's the pivot, right? So I said a Mulan training montage. Word in the street is EU is doing has some big Mulan training montage energy before Mortdog Madness, the 4v4 thing. How true is that, Panda?
That was a narrative I was trying to push because, I think it's good on a broadcast to have 2 differing narratives. If everyone's just doing the same stuff, it's harder to push a storyline. So I'm not French. I don't speak French. I don't really talk to the French players that much. That was just what I was selling. Maybe they weren't training as much as I thought. I know the Spanish team definitely wasn't doing any kind of Mulan training. So I think
I do remember seeing some streams where they were doing in-houses, the French players at least.
It's possible because they just have a lot of
like
community tournaments throughout like every weekend and every week, and they have like stuff always going on with Sean's and the stuff they run always on Twitch and even like fan events, I think, after Worlds even. So I don't know if it's so much for Mortdog Madness and just the byproduct of that's how the French community is always very, very involved. The players are all very involved and they really love TFT and competing between themselves even and kind of having all these different shows happening. So yeah, I think they definitely did try hard. I think they definitely, and I don't think they had a bad result. I think,
Yeah.
NA had a good comeback on day 2.
Yeah.
Could have gone either way.
You know what it is? It's like that
It's
scene
the
in the Avengers
massive
where
P-God energy.
Yeah, it's like the theme of the Avengers where like we have a Hulk, like we have a P-God. Like, it was determined from the start. Like, there is no way to you can't overcome a mountain. You can't. It's like unstoppable force meets like unbreakable
Meets normal person.
Yeah, but it's
I
just
have an army. We have a POC.
Exactly. And his pull-out game was on point over the weekend because man, oh man, did he pull out every stock. He fucking went off.
Every dub. He pulled out every dub.
Was he the highest point scorer over the weekend?
He was the highest point scorer.
He did pull it all out. Let it rip all over EU space.
Actually, speaking of pull out,
Get a little bit graphic here, Appies, okay? Please.
Sorry. Okay, this is why we're unofficial podcast.
I'm not even the host, but I'm the one to tell you. Let's keep it PG-13 for our viewers.
No.
Sorry.
This podcast has never been PG-13.
I have the official broadcast mentality still. I have to unleash. If you would say that on the official broadcast, I would immediately be looking at you like, what? What the fuck did this guy just say?
No.
I do have a filter. I do. If I was on a broadcast ever, believe me, I would not make the illusion that Pecan pulled out and then it would not happen.
I had enough even saying
promise.
PP God on air, but I'm like, I mean, the name's there, so I'm just gonna read it.
PP God. Oh my
Yeah, I can't believe that.
Wait, how come PP God did? How could PP God could go through and like I had a name with I had like my duo's name with Jag was PG Squad, and they forced me to change PG Squad, and they changed Simp to Megabean's name to just Megabean.
Yeah,
I think that's clear favoritism, no?
Yeah, exactly. Down with P God.
It's Preston doing his thing, you know. He gets the bias,
Yeah.
he gets all the extra
I mean,
favors.
he is the protagonist, is he not?
He literally is the protagonist. Like,
Main character
he is the
energy.
Set 7 world champion already.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh,
I don't know.
Giant Slayer put out their recap video for our episode of 1st or 8th, and I saw, I watched it back. Fucking phenomenal, like 100%. Even if you watch the 1st or 8th episode, watch that edit, because the editing was fucking on point, and the immediate me just saying "Pull Out King" live on a Giant Slayer broadcast and the editing around that.
Yeah.
Amazing.
See, okay,
I ended that one with Pants Grab. I don't know if they edited it out or not.
They did
but-
not edit that out. That's in there.
Oh, perfect.
that episode proved a filter because I refused to buzz in and say "Pull Out King." I refused. I said I will
I
not
did
say
not.
"Pull Out King" until they said it was okay to say "Pull Out King."
They didn't say it was okay. I just said it and we rolled with it.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah. Well, what? Yeah, once they, yeah.
Yeah. At some point, it's
did-
like, oh, I just broke it. This is also
Wait.
coming from someone who did say Bonar on purpose during an official.
Sometimes you got to. There's no avoiding that. You know?
Did
Oh,
anyone?
and you work it in as nonchalantly as possible. There was literally a Bonar on Carousel that Soju picked up, and I called it out. Soju gets the Bonar, yada, yada, yada. Just keep going. You gotta sneak it in.
Oh, of course. Did
Yeah.
anyone this weekend actually end up having to call? No one called and pull out the broadcast, right? That would.
As far as I know, no. Because I didn't.
Ken's
I
like,
know
"Fuck
Cass
no."
didn't. There's no shot Mort would ever do that.
And I don't recall doing it
Absolutely
either,
not.
so I think that's a negative.
Mm,
Good.
No.
tragic.
We got stuck at
so
PP God. I did call Raditz the TFT community darling after that Dot Esports article.
So there was also the weekend, as we alluded to, was that so it was very close at the end, right? It was like the last game. So the format was that there were 4 NA teams, 4 EU teams. They all play day 1. Then the best NA team and the best EU team make it to day 2, where they go head to head. And then whoever comes out on top of that day wins. It ended up being PP Gone featuring Prestivant, Soju, Gooms, and Mismatch songs, all of which I think combined have like an hour of TFT in the last 2 weeks. I don't know. I like around. They are Valorant gods now, though. But I mean, that's just to say that like sometimes you can just pull it out and you can just like be informed, even though you're not like should it be informed. You can just be informed because there were some like they played well. I would say I watched most of it. They did play well. It's not like they played really poorly or anything. And it was one of the French teams in the second day with them, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Yeah, it was AEG, right?
Yeah.
AG, yeah.
Aegis Gang, which is
Yeah.
the team that Sean, I think, created last set, or this is where the history part of TST eludes me still.
Sean, yeah.
But it was-
It's a team Sean's founded.
You need
yeah.
Magarki, Potable, and Ketzer.
Yes. And it was a very close day 2. Day 1, I think the scores were also very even in that so there was one really bad performing NA team, one really bad or poorly performing EU team. Won't say which NA team it was because I mean I'm not gonna
Yeah.
won't say what EU team it is either. Just for
It's
Definitely not
just-
the one
I
that
may
I'm
or may
wearing.
not
No.
have been the worst performing NA player in that tournament. I won't say. Won't say it though. Might have just said it. But yeah, and then like I think it was like EU NA on the first day, and then it was just like NA EU NA. It was like very back and forth in the standings, and then it was so it was very close the whole thing, and it was a very cool event. So I can't speak to the experience as a caster, but Kevin and I can definitely attest to as a player. It was super fun. Even going like 888, like that shit was fun.
Oh yeah, it was great. I got to I didn't I barely talked strategy with my team. The only thing that I typed in the group chat was like, all right guys, bio leeching is busted, I'm pretty sure. And then we had like one bio leeching game, and I whipped out Cho'Gath carry, and I got second with it. And I was like, oh yeah, it's busted. I knew it. And then
we watched that on the co-stream with Frodan. I don't think it was on the mainstream, but like we were laughing our asses off the whole time at the unkillable.
I almost won with Cho'Gath too. It was so close.
Wait, what were the items?
Oh, it was I'm trying to
Titans
remember.
Resolve,
Titans,
Archangels,
and probably and a Bramble Vest.
Like that's woke. That's so fucking
that's
It was 3 Socialite Cho'Gath with like 7 bio leeching or something.
Although we were watching, was 3 Colossus not better?
Oh
than
no!
7
So
Mutants,
I don't think so. This is what my reasoning is based. It's based off of how much you heal. So with healing reduction, I think the reason why I put in 7 Mutant was because I just wanted every Cho'Gath fight to heal Cho'Gath to full, regardless of like what's happening. So like the effective health doesn't matter too much if you're losing it in the long run. At least that's what my opinion was. I could be wrong. I could have played. I did have armor plating, so maybe that makes the difference.
Yeah. And I think our reasoning was also you had to play a lot of shitters to play 7 Mutant.
Oh, when I play these comps, I don't care about shitters. I just do it for the meme value.
That's fair, honestly. Yeah.
You know what's surprisingly good in Omnivamp, and what actually makes it super good, in my opinion, is when you have like Celestial 1 or 2, because it lets you heal over the cap.
Yeah.
It just
You
gives
heal,
everyone on
like,
your team like your Cho'Gath just has
infinite shields.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, of course, I'm gonna bring this back to Talon. I love even having built Gunblade taking Celestial, because it's so much healing for the whole team and so much shields.
Yeah, it's almost better for the shield than it is for the healing on most people.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
so
the healing never hurts. Like the Talon never dies, but with other healing especially, it's so good.
Mm-hmm. But that tech specifically is Alex M Tech. Or at least that's where I saw her. It's Alex M Tech. I saw him playing once in PBE. I was like, oh yeah, I'll do that.
Speaking of Woke board, there's also that there's that doubles board. Those board that was like gold reserves Quinn 3. I fucking love that. Quinn 3
is
I made a comp this week. It's called 2 Girls 1 Clock. It's so it's time flies, but you reroll Quinn as well, and you itemize Quinn. I played it to a 3rd yesterday, and it actually popped off. The Quinn was one shotting like it was 6 Scholar.
Oh snap!
It was so cool. It was so cool. So it's called. It was originally 2 birds 1. So I know what it sounds like. And it's now on purpose, but at first it was originally it was 2 birds 1 clock, because it's supposed to be like kill 2 birds with 1 stone, like two birds with 1 rock. And then I said that, and then chat was like, "Dude, it sounds like 2 girls 1 cup." And I was like, "Oh,
what is that?"
And then we just rolled it.
I've never heard that phrase before.
Yeah. Anyway,
we can't talk about what 2 girls. That's too much.
We can move on. I now realize that I do not have official broadcast energy. I accept it. We can move on. My apologies. It's a fun comp though. Quinn 3 is really good. The problem is that the difference between Quinn 2 and Quinn 3 is like
it's
Quinn 2 does nothing.
It's more than 2x.
Yeah.
It's more than 2x.
It's insane.
Yeah. I'm pretty
like
sure like
gross.
Kivix, whenever he fucking rerolls Quinn, he leaves the Quinn 3 and he leaves the Quinn 2 on bench until it's Quinn 3 and then throws it in.
Yeah. It's almost always correct.
Which also,
it's Quinn 2 sucks. Quinn 3 sick.
Speaking of Kivix, hold up. I need to share this fucking, because this man, I hit him in one of my lobbies yesterday, and this man I need to, on level 5 he was rerolling Zillion, Alawi, Kassadin, Camille, and Sejuani on level 5, and then by level 7 he also had in Jin and Zyra, and then had Clockwork Soul and the Clockwork Emblem. So this man was playing 6 Clock, 2 Scholar, 2 Bruiser with just whatever the fuck 3 stars.
Did he top 4?
He went 5th.
Okay.
As soon as he went
that was
5th,
that climax.
he
was almost the hero of TFT.
He said
Almost
this comp
the hero.
sucks and then dipped. Yeah.
Yeah, no shit. You rerolled Alawi.
No. He was in one of my games and he played Assassin's Spat Alawi 3 with double Locket Nocturne 3.
Wait.
Yeah, that one went top 4, I think.
I don't
This
have a
man will
Kivix lobby
reroll
story.
anything. Jesus Christ.
And I'm sure Panda also does not have a Kivix lobby story. Okay, we both need to come back next week. We're gonna invite you back, Panda. We're gonna both have Kivix lobby stories next week. Okay.
Okay, I have
You
to,
gotta
I have to
queue it
catch
up
up
on
on
NA.
TFT history,
Yeah,
so
gotta-
I need all the stories.
Yeah.
But I know of him. I've heard some stuff at least leading
He
into
won
yeah.
mid. I was gonna actually ask you about this as well because this
Uh-huh.
kind of pertains to 44 too. But so he was kind of he should have been on the top 10 player, like top 15 players in NA list for sure. He won mid set. He's like very
Mhm.
very good. And he wasn't, but he just re-rolls like this crazy shit every game. Like
Mhm.
his comps don't make any sense really, but they make a lot of sense once he it's he's like 5 hit as hell. But I was wondering, so you have like the top 15 NA list. Is there like a power ranking in EU?
Nope.
There's not. Okay.
There's-
Was there
it's,
like?
I'm not sure
Okay,
how,
so-
how deep you want to go into this topic.
We can
about,
go
like,
deep. I'm down. If
Yeah?
you feel like it. No, if you want
Just-
to,
I'm always
you wanna
down
delve
for deep.
Dig our hole.
even
I'm
in
going
general,
for
one of the problems, at least that I've done a lot of behind the scenes stuff with Runeterra, and I'm when I cast, I don't just cast. I'm very very involved. I don't really stream or do content myself. I should, and I'm considering it for set 7, but I'm very involved with kind of narratives and storylines and kind of trying to empower players to kind of engage with viewers outside of just I'm very good at this game and this is me, but not really showcasing their personality, etc. So that was my goal going to set 6 for TFT. And one of the biggest problems that I faced and that there is that the region is very compartmentalized, where like each big community speaks their language. Every CCG game I played, every esport I've been a part of in Europe, everyone there's a greater community that all speaks English, and all the players interact between each other and compete and discuss competitive and kind of get better and incentivize each other to play better, and kind of it grows as a whole. Whereas in TFT, it's very sectioned into this is the French community and the French players and the French streamers, and they do their thing in French. And Sean's I'm So Fresh, Solo Gasang in German, Snidiboo in Spanish, Epiguana, Ike Wonder. And there's very few, I guess Dasic is the one example, and AlexM, streamers but they're not the biggest, they're not the most influential, they're smaller countries, smaller regions that do English content. So one of the biggest problems with trying to push content in EU is that everyone's doing content in their own language. They have their content bases are from their countries and that speak their language, that don't consume English content. And maybe some of the streamer content aren't as comfortable in English doing, because it's different speaking English so and speaking English well enough to create content and be a personality and all this. That's one of the biggest issues that I want to try and tackle, and that maybe we'll be able to tackle the Rising Legends team in general through, because we did player content, but it was just in the breaks between competitions and stuff. And there was nowhere else where it was hosted. It wasn't posted on YouTube, it wasn't posted anywhere else. So I think it was hard for viewers to engage and get to know players on a personal level. So it's missing all of that. Power rankings, all the kind of stuff that you could do so much crossover stuff between all these big communities and all these big players and more invitational tournaments, or more, not for fun, but I guess outside of the main competitive circuit. I think a lot more work can be done to try and unite Europe in the content side of stuff and allow for much more crossover of opinions, of rivalries between, because for example, NAEU, okay, but Spain versus France, those are two countries that in sports and esports are always rivals to some degree. There's always this kind of friendly animosity, and that's not really there was a Spain versus France show match before regionals, so like 2 months ago or so, which is really cool, between Snooty and I think Sean's possibly. Had like 2 teams of 8, and there was like some stuff done there. But if more stuff like that is done, and just more content that's produced in English is done, then it would allow for so much more stuff. And I know all you guys in NA don't really know that much about EU players, and kind of are going off of just seeing results and seeing standing and stuff to try and make an idea, because there isn't this content being done for a more global audience or an English audience. So I think that's something that can be worked on for sure for set 7.
Yeah, it seems almost like it's like a microcosm of the kind of bigger problem with TFT and like the global setting, right? In that NA doesn't interact with EU a lot. Like I'd say maybe the 2 regions that interact the most, but cross-continental. NA has no idea what's going on in Korea most of the time, or Japan, or like OCE, we have a bit of an idea what's going on. But a lot of these communities are very much not intertwined at all. Like we have no idea what's going on with each other, right? And it might be because like TFT started to become very big around quarantine and like COVID era and stuff, right? So there's a lack of, I think there's like a lack of sense of community and at like a individual level almost. Like you don't go to a LAN ever, right? You don't like see your top players interacting with each other or anything like that. So there's obviously that contributing to the lack of sense of community, but then it kind of bleeds over into no region in the world really feels like it is familiar with another region of the world, right? We have like China as well. We have no idea.
We have like 3 people that'll spread secret Chinese comps, right? And that's it. Like we can't see anything. And this is a question I asked not because I think it's very important for the EU scene as you mentioned, but also just for like TFT, at a greater level. How do you start to break down those barriers between like different regions in the EU and different regions of the world?
Riot's not going to do it. So you have to have people like Tanner, for example. I think Tanner is a super important person in terms of what he gives to the community. And he does a very good job, but it's something that's super vital because no one else is doing it because no one has the initiative to do it or the incentive. It's something that I want to work on as well. When I've worked with Riot in Runeterra and with CDPR and Gwent, because I have a lot of, let's say, free. This is my full-time thing, casting in general. I've made it work to the point where it's full-time and I have a lot of free time to do other stuff, but also just to play games and be very competitive at the games that I'm playing as well, but also to do behind-the-scenes stuff because I don't stream, which I think is a very low EV thing in general for 95% of people in the gaming space. And I don't really do content on YouTube. I have a lot of time to do other stuff behind the scenes. And with Riot, I've tried to be kind of a mediator role between players and Riot or players and production companies and see what players need and what players want and what players would like and how they want to be highlighted or spotlighted or put into kind of not sold as like this package for viewers to consume, but kind of, how they want to be shown to the viewers and how you can make that link between viewers and players be better. Talk about like narratives and story. That's why I think they're so important. I think all the real engagement and, why people like Soju are so popular and so successful in TFT as a streamer is not just because he's good at the game, of course he is, but because he's so entertaining. I watched in set 3 and I didn't watch set 4 and 5, but now I'm back in set 6, and I think TFT has one of the most fun communities, very wholesome, very positive overall, but especially there's so much endemic slang and things that it's so unique and it's so fun for me. I watch a lot of NA streamers and I just love like all the different like sound bites that I hear 24/7 or like the just in general. It's super entertaining and that's what has to be pushed more than just a game from the competitive aspect. I think that's what has to be pushed, and we need people like if you're talking about just inter-region stuff or cross-region stuff, I think you need people to have EU guests coming to podcasts like these, for example, have NA guests. If there were EU podcasts, which unfortunately there aren't, hopefully that changes. I think EU is very far behind in terms of content compared to NA. And it's why all the biggest streamers roll NA. It's because they just, since set 3, have been pushing much further in that space with content in general and streaming and making it entertaining. I think Sox was talking about it in High Roll Radio yesterday that the only streamer that he's watched is entertaining in EU is Sean's, and I agree with him because Sean is very vocal and very kind of emphatic about how he speaks, even though he's speaking French. But that also comes into the aspect of like language being a barrier, where all EU players can watch NA players like I do, and I know all the personalities now after set 6. I've picked up on so many different personality traits and quirks and who is how each person is, shy or more confident, like all this different stuff, because I can watch everyone and they speak English. But the same can't be said about NA players or viewers watching EU. So I think there's a big disruption there where you can't tune into the language you don't understand. So it's a lot of problems. A lot of things have to be solved. They're good things because I think the French community is really nice and really well developed, and inside of France, if you're a French-speaking person, you must be incredibly happy if you play a lot of TFT because there's so much content consumed, so much great personalities. But it's only France, and it's only Spain, it's only Germany, and there isn't that spillover between different countries and between different regions as well. So I just think you need a lot more initiative. I think Riot has to try pushing more stuff like Mortdog Madness and just more ways for regions to cross over, because it's much more engagement for everyone. If one viewer doesn't just watch his country and his streamer from his country, but watches everyone to some degree, it just helps for every tournament's viewership, for every tournament's engagement, for players' storylines, etc. So for Worlds being much more interesting, I think Set 6 wasn't so interesting because most viewers knew only about the players from the regions. Set 6 was a whole different story that I don't think I want to get into just yet. But yeah, that's the biggest thing. Just having more initiative in terms of pushing content in a very concentrated way and trying to achieve certain things.
Yeah, I feel like that whole point actually of like kind of, we have a lot of endemic slang and a lot of very specific ways we talk with like emotes too. And like the TFT Twitch like emote meta is unparalleled.
Yeah.
It's not even close. But this is actually something I've been thinking about for me on broadcasts specifically. Like, how much do I incorporate some of that slang in? How much does that actually like come across to an average viewer? How much about Twitch chat TFT emote culture does an average viewer know? I think honestly, like for the average viewer, has more or less picked up on stuff because the official audience isn't like huge on TFT broadcasts, so a lot of people tuning in do know, at least like they've heard a little bit from other streamers like talking about stuff, and even with me like saying, "Oh, Frozen Heart Echo dies of cringe" on broadcast, like it kind of like brings them into the loop a little bit. And it's something I think Frodan. I know I've noticed Frodan does the same thing of incorporating some of our endemic language into the broadcast, and I think that's a really cool thing that makes the game unique. Is we have those just the little things that Soju says basically, and just how we use the emotes. And I think that's I was thinking about, do I want to do that? Do I want to do something like, say, Frozen Heart Echo dies of cringe on broadcast? I decide, yeah, I want to. I think that's, especially coming from me, where like I'm so fucking embedded in Twitch chat and emote culture at this point that like I know a decent amount at this point, and I can incorporate that into broadcasts. But also what you're talking about with like individual players that need to be kind of the ones that bridge these, like build these bridges between regions. I know there's been like Tanner with China, and there's been some others scattered. Aniko with OCE, and then kind of like Jose the other way, and also me following over and being Aniko and I have been like big advocates for how good of a region OCE actually is and how good the players at the top are, because coming into every fucking Worlds, coming into this Worlds with the mock draft that the casters did, neither OCE player got picked up. And
I'm gonna preface this by saying that before we started the fantasy draft, Froden literally said, I saw this guy in the mock tourney. He's not top 32, and we're like, okay, we'll believe you, because none of us had anything to go off of. Like, okay, I guess we'll trust Froden. So it's kind of his fault. But I did see like the Froden had like some notes he sent us from what he had kind of picked up on watching the mock tournament, and there weren't very good results from TXC. So I think that to some degree it was justified. I think TXC popped off in the perfect time, but we didn't really have much to go off. So it's like, okay, we'll just trust Froden on this one.
And at some points also, like Aniko and I know a lot about that region because we've gone over there, and like we know the players. Not like they know each other a little better, but we know them pretty well at this point. And like Pi Hat coming from Latin America, and I'm making it my mission in set 7 to do the same thing with LATAM that I've been doing with OCE, because I went on my simp for simp to Megamine rant on, not so much rant, but like after these guys had a whole podcast episode, what's the word? Focused on simping over this guy. I took that to Twitter, and also realized, oh, he's also a Talon player. Okay, I'm a simp to Megamine. And got a lot of attention from the LATAM community. Like a bunch of them started following me on Twitter, got a lot of engagement. So I decided my set 7 vacation with LATAM, like I want to be someone that bridges that gap. Like Pi Hat is doing the other way. And also Clave's actually been helping me like translate some stuff. So they've been helping, and I want to go the other way for sure, and interact with them more, and like help get them into this, like the semblance of the globalized community we have, which we don't really, but just help that a little more with this region that people like don't know a lot about, and some people kind of look down on because it's like, oh, it's just Latin America. Like what can they do? Even though like they showed up at Worlds. Altanawe made final day. Like he did okay. Like I think he got 6th.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, for Worlds Prep, I talked to Pi Hat a lot as well. I had a few calls with him and talked about a lot of the players from that time, and he gave me a lot of information. Obviously, I'm a Spanish speaker, so it was easier to have that connection and But I also talked to Dobbs from Brazil. I talked to Tanner as well. He gave me a huge rundown on China, and we were able to give like all the casters on the broadcast team for Worlds. Makes and I did a lot of kind of like that prep work, the narrative prep work, because coming from Runeterra, that's something that I focus on so much. The narrative storylines and knowing at least a little bit about every single player to be able to sell something to the viewers about not just, oh, they're ranked 3 in this region or they qualified through here and that's it. Like, you want to sell some story. Why are they here? What are their aspirations? What are their goals? What are their differences to other players, play style, personality differences? So that was kind of my goal. And there were some key figures in those communities that were able to help me reach that. So I think that's super important. I was very grateful. But if more of that is done in the future, I think it's going to be great for everyone involved, because it just allows everyone else to engage, not just with one viewing product, which is, their region and their regionals and their tournaments, but you can suddenly watch EMEA and be invested because these players. If you've seen some videos about these players talking about, certain things, and then you're more invested not just in their results and what comp they're playing, but in their storyline as a player even. So same with like OC or Latam or any region really. So I think that's something that the whole community has to tackle in set 7. And if it's just better for everyone, for there to be more engagement and more interest overall, not just from the very invested community like us and high level players, but also newer players coming in. The more content there is online, I think it's pivotal for any esport to function, especially CCGs and strategy games. Especially, I think there needs to be a very fleshed out personality side of things and content side of things as well.
The content side of things in the like interregional disconnect that we have right now, those are not unrelated things, right? Those are not unrelated concepts at all. Because the more content and the more storyline that pops up in whatever region, just gives more opportunities for this crossover too, right? If you have like a rising player in NA, and then there's like the rising player storyline in NA, and there's like another rising player storyline in EU, people will start like comparing and contrasting, and then like all of a sudden both regions are interested in the other region, right? Because there's all these cool things going on, all these cool comparisons, and then that's the goal, right? But obviously we have the exact opposite of like an oversaturation issue in terms of content in TFT right now, and and like a narrative as well. So I think we're getting better at it, certainly. I think like this set NA, for example, has had a much better time showing off its players, and like there are a lot of podcasts popping up, a lot of like just like shows in general popping up, a lot of like YouTube content from people that's not just like I hit my 3-star 5 cost popping up, right? And then that will naturally bleed itself over into bringing the communities, like interregional communities together, right? So we can only hope that moving forward, the more people are interested in that like interregional thing, but also just like in creating more content, because they will help each other. They will help each other. Yeah, and like one big issue that's solved by solving a lot of other issues. Feels like, I mean, we're a very young esport at the end of the day too. So yeah. I think
I'm down. I'm down for a World Cup for TFT.
Oh,
let's do it! Hell yeah!
So in Runeterra, there's a tournament that was kind of not part of the competitive circuit, but it was the Masters Drib tournament, and essentially 16 countries would qualify from Europe. You would have like a ladder phase, like 3-week ladder phase. The top players from unique countries. So let's say, for example, first on ladder is French, second on ladder is French. Only the first player is qualifying France to the tournament. Then the next player can be like the 5th player that's a new country, like Germany. They're second. So qualify 16 countries with 16 captains, the 16 players that are kind of unique on the ladder at the top spots. And then if first and then second and 7th are France, then that's their team. First, second, and 7th. It could be first, second, and like 100th. If there's like 2 really good players and 1 is kind of bad. But the ones you qualify the country, then you just look at that country's 2nd and 3rd best players. And it was like a Masters, like a multi-week group stage tournament between different countries, and that was super fun. So many players got on the like spotlighted because of this. It fostered so much good relations between players and communities, and I think that's really cool. It's hard to do, but that would be really cool. I know Overwatch did it as well, and I mean, I just love. I'm a big fan of traditional sports as well, so any kind of stuff relating. And I think national pride. The biggest thing that this tournament was so successful in Runeterra was because it was done when Runeterra just started off as an esport. And none of the players were like players coming from Heartstone or coming from Magic and like known players already. They were all kind of endemic to Runeterra. They become born as personalities and high-level players with Runeterra. And this made it so that any viewer that tunes in doesn't know any players, but if I'm Spanish, you bet I'm going to tune in and cheer for the Spanish players, even though I don't know who they are. So it created automatically from the ground up viewer engagement to the countries that they're interested in. So I think it's a really good format because it just solves maybe a big issue of viewer engagement and viewer interest in terms of who to root for, why to root for them. It's hard to pull off, as I mentioned, but I think that would be a really cool idea, having a World Cup with nationalities. And there's a lot of nationalities that you can definitely have. It's a big project, but I hope Riot at some point tackles it.
I'm down for 4v4 World Cup because then we get a good amount of reps from each region or each country. And then it has the kind of one country versus another face-off format that other World Cups have, and a lot of Mortdog Madness did end up being like not as much national pride, but maybe a little bit with like the French teams, but regional pride for sure. And getting to showcase that kind of regional pride and like the whole NA versus EU thing really made the tournament a lot of fun to watch. Mm-hmm. If it was just a 4v4, it could be fun, or it would have been fun still. But the regional aspect on top of that definitely made it a lot more fun. That would be a huge project to do a 4v4 World Cup for TFT, but that would be so fucking cool if it happened.
The problem is NA gets kind of scuffed because there's such a great pool of players in NA that reducing it to only one team would be kind of...
But also that once you split it into US and Canada, then it actually gets interesting because like Goobums is Canadian, Spencer's Canadian. I mean, those two would be on the Canadian team for sure.
I think you could even do like NA West Coast, East Coast. Like I don't know, you can do certain like.
I feel like to just keep things like fair, like having US and then Canada. At least for the NA side, but you actually that would be, who the fuck do you pick?
It's tough.
Right?
That would be a time. Yeah,
Pigon.
Okay,
wait, we gotta have a team Massachusetts. Team New England.
You're going too small.
Exactly.
I was talking about
we're going even
West
smaller.
Coast, East Coast. If you go to States, I think there's not that much talent pool.
I mean, so one thing during like, for example, Smash event. I don't know if any Panda, if you've seen any like Smash events.
Not a lot.
Have, like
a little bit here and there.
Before they have like a format called crew battles. I don't think they do it as much nowadays, but in a lot of the older tournaments, they had like regional crew battles. We don't have anything like that in TFT, but like they would have like you have your East Coast, you have, and like you can split it up, like you can go even further because sometimes it's like New England could have a crew battle, or like have a crew. SoCal would have its own crew. NorCal would have its own crew. Like Midwest. Yeah. Like Florida, they would like take all the major regions and like stick a crew together, and it's like I think if TFT had something like that, because like we can scale it, right? Everything can be at scale. Essentially, like you could have these like smaller like inter-region, also like between countries, between like just the entire regions as well. I think it would be nice to have like multiple events like these because I think it gets you something to be invested in, right?
Yeah. There's so many formats you can explore in esports and TFT and in any game really. Not just like game formats in terms of like double up, normal TFT, but how you set up a tournament and how you set up storylines for a tournament. Because the moment you do this like Masters Europe thing, or like you're saying, these cross-regional stuff, someone from California is like, oh, I'm going to root for this team because, they're from where I'm from and we want to prove we're the best. And you're engaged to this team, even though you might not know the players at all. You can have even like open qualifiers for each region, for example, if you want to do like that. So I think there's a lot of proposals to do. The only problem is that anything that's not part of the main competitive circuit, I think has to be slightly invitational because Mortdog Madness works so well because all the personalities, all the different streamers doing their own perspective, having the comms of their team. It doesn't really work if you do open qualifiers because if it's, no offense to the nobodies, I guess, but there has to be a separation. I love that the main circuit is open, pretty much, at least in EMEA, it's like fully open with open qualifiers and everything as well. There has to be that, road to pro for players to be involved and engaged. But the for fun stuff or like the non-main competitive circuit stuff, I think that's where you can get really wild and make really cool stuff. I think Twitch Rivals is a great example across all esports. It's such a good way to blend entertainment with competition.
Yeah, the qualifier for that at that point is almost just like to, grind out the thing, become a top player, then become a personality, and then, you're going to start getting invited, stuff like that. And it's just like, it's a weird qualification system, obviously, It's not like you just hit rank 1 ladder, and then it's that. But
Mhm.
and there's still technically a qualification system at that point too. I mean, crew battles and TFT would be so fucking cool because even in like NA, it's surprising it would work out pretty well. It's like we have a lot of regions that like we have like a Florida region in NA, or at least. So is anyone else in Florida besides Inico? There's gotta be some.
Kurum is in Florida.
I used to live in Miami. I grew up in Miami for 10 years.
So
I can kind of count maybe.
Fuck it. Yeah.
And
I'll hop on
also
down.
GBA is like before he was in like where is he? He's in one of the Carolinas now, but he used to be in Florida, right?
Yeah, I mean, we have that
There's-
team. We
there's-
obviously
yeah.
have like California teams. We definitely have a New England team.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, we can do some pretty cool shit with that. Okay, that's on the back.
Set it
I
up.
mean, if no one's gonna do it, we can do it. Fuck it.
Fuck it.
Fuck
We
it.
have,
too.
I think
Unofficial
we can have
broadcast.
A Maryland team. There has to be more than me and Soju from Maryland.
R-rated unofficial broadcast. You guys
Yeah.
set the rules.
And this is perfect for like an off-season type thing when
Mhm.
like if this happened towards like the end of set 7.5 after Worlds when there's kind of this lull in competition, having something a little more fun, which is why Mortdog Madness actually worked so well. It's a solid like midpoint in between the gap between Worlds and set 7, and just something to break the month and a half monotony of no competition, just playing TFT to play TFT. Yeah, it was something to play for. So I'm down to have a crew battle thing as end of set 7.5 content. Let's do it.
I would even
I'm
say
down.
start of set.
Yeah.
That is the real
yeah.
magical. You can't do it competitive because obviously there's competitive integrity involved where they're never going to do that. Right? It's not going to do a tournament like right when a set launches. But that's if you want a really entertaining tournament, that is a time to do the fun stuff because everyone's just trying to solve stuff. You can see the meta being solved as the tournament goes along, even and that it really opens up for so many hype and really interesting moments where players that are able to solve things more quickly can kind of. It's just the meta will be evolving so quickly that I think it's gonna be super entertaining if someone does that, like at the start of the set, for example, when it's still very fresh.
You
Yeah,
say
I'm also-
competitive integrity in start of set, but Piltover Cup got held on the first patch, so
Yeah. I mean,
we're not gonna. We're not.
But I'm
we've
talking
already
like
delved
day of
into
launch
that.
or
Yeah.
like the 3 days
Yeah,
after
yeah.
launch.
First weekend. I'm down. Crew battle first weekend of the set as like a set launch fun tournament would be fucking fun.
we should try to put this together.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
We'll
Let's
keep
do
people
it.
updated. We'll get Panda to cast it, but we'll have to get unofficial broadcast Panda version.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a
You have to
version that
drop-
no one's
at
seen
least one
before.
F-bomb
I've
every
been
5
I've been
minutes
waiting
before
to unleash this version for so long.
Yeah.
It's funny
Crew
'cause-
battles, they talk mad shit.
All
Like,
the
if you're
viewers
in a
that
crew
know me
battle,
from Runeterra and all this, they have this idea of me being very professional because I don't stream, I don't do content on YouTube, so they don't really get to see the, let's say, more natural side of me very often. So I'm waiting to unleash my my non-professional, non-official broadcast side.
I mean, I'm so down.
That'd be fun.
Okay, we will actively try to put this together. I will say this on behalf of all of us while we can't say no. We will actively try to put this together. And hopefully we'll have something fun with it. But yeah, that sounds sick. Okay. Very, very cool. But yeah, 44, obviously I think for fun events it's pretty cool, but for like official stuff, it's probably not the best format, right?
I think there's
It could get there. I mean,
With
I
some
guess.
tweaks. I think it's like with 2v2. Once Riot made like double up and it's a like a dedicated 2v2 mode with adjustments for 2v2. It's not perfect because some of the balance stuff is still sketch around some of the 3 stars and such. But if Riot made an official 4v4 mode with adjustments for it, I think it could work actually pretty well as a competitive format alongside singles, which is always going to be the main format. That's just how it is. But I think you can make 4v4 and double up competitive formats that supplement that, kind of like how 2v2s is kind of supplements singles in Smash. So
I kind of disagree to a little bit because I think double up, and I know this is a bit for some players that are really in love with double up as they want to push it as like the future of TFT. I think veering away too much from the main game mode or the main way it's played is a dangerous precedent to set for engagement from newer players, from viewers that are coming in, and if they're not seeing what they're usually playing and like all the different game systems, it's a little bit I think it's not the best idea in terms of viewership, and I think that's why the Mortdog Madness works so well, because it's the same game, but you're adding this extra layer of complexity of the team comms, of this new layer of strategy that doesn't exist in normal TFT, and that's what makes it so appealing and so interesting, I think. But normally you change the game mode and you change like how double up is, where like there's a lot of things that are very different, and the meta plays out very differently. But play double up a lot can like attest to this. I think it's a dangerous precedent to set. Because if you split into different game modes, then it just splits the interest from viewers, from the player base in general.
I think a good example of this is in Pokemon, actually. Because the main competitive format in Pokemon is actually VGC, which is doubles. It's not singles. But it's like not like they... So there's a couple different ways to play Pokemon, technically, right? There's stuff like triple battles, which Kevin and I have recently experienced. There's all this stuff, like crazy stuff coming out. But the format, like there's a Smogon format, which is like the unofficial format, which is just singles, and there's doubles, which is like the official format, right? And it's like the mechanics are still the same. It just
what's it called?
It's like still very digestible.
Sorry,
it's like a site that basically it's called like Smogon University.
Yeah,
right?
it's just like basically it's just the word for like the singles
okay.
TFT like format.
It's like the whole. That's like the whole community is around that site.
Yeah, it sounds like something.
It sounds like
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what yet.
Yeah, we're not trying to get you the D's nuts thing. It's actually called Smogon.
It is. I can't confirm this.
Yeah. And so like the official format's actually doubles though, which I think to a degree, I think it's not quite the level of double up, right? 'Cause it's not like the game is just totally different or anything, but I think the official format being doubles. And I've only been like one official Pokemon event, and I've watched it for a long time. But like, I am by no means like a top player, like 100% involved, like super involved in the community thing. But it feels like it almost hurts the game a little bit competitively. That the main format is not singles for their events, because there's like all this extra complexity that well it still is. It's like kind of like between double up and 4v4, and that like the game mechanics are still the same, but there's like so much extra added complexity that it's actually almost too much sometimes, which is maybe why.
And one thing is like I came up just playing Smogon, like that Smogon format, and like I didn't know VGC at all, and like I still don't know anything about VGC, which is like it's like
fun. It's just hard to get into.
It's like once you do one, and then you like.
Yeah, you put so much time into it, you don't want to do
the other one necessarily.
Yeah, I love VGC, and I love Pokemon in general, and I think VGC is great. It's just it's not how you traditionally play a Pokemon game, right? You don't have double battles every single battle. So it adds a lot of extra complexity that can be difficult. The learning curve can be difficult to get into it. So yeah, we do have some questions here as we start to wrap up. Let's see. I don't want to skip anyone. I remember our first one was actually for you, Panda. What is your favorite little legend?
It has to be the Panda chunk, but I don't use it because I'm not someone that really cares so much about cosmetics. I tend to buy the battle pass, something I don't really value it so much, but I don't actually have it, the Panda chunk, but I want to get it because I'm a panda. It's a panda, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
I have just the legend from set 3. I think at some point when I was playing Riot Aleko, I don't know if you guys are familiar with him at all. He was involved with Runeterra for a bit, and TFT maybe as well. He had like some giveaway, and I won it. I won some eggs, and I just popped it open and got some of the legend. I just used the 3-star ones, the Moontail Hush something. I'm not too good with names, but
the moon Hushtail, Moontail,
kind of like
Hush Moon,
Ninetales.
Yeah, and then Ninetales,
the little foxy thingy.
But I would like to stay on brand and get the Panda chunk for set 7. That's my cosmetic goal for set 7.
Can someone give this man the Panda chunk?
Any riders in the chat?
I need an oiler to just
send a direct package. No little X stuff. Just send a direct.
Yeah.
I need someone to give me Chi-Chi on OCE and LATAM. Because I've been playing on River Sprite on OCE this whole time, and it pains me. I want to walk up to people and fucking Chi-Chi boing in their face, and I cannot. Like I can't on NA, which also I will. Okay, on the Golden Spatula Awards that Teamfight Talk Show did last night, they said the best cosmetics this set were the Chibi Little Legends. And I thoroughly disagree because those coming out took fucking Kevin away from Chi-Chi. This man is a Chi-Chi betrayer because of the Chibis.
Oh yeah, let's go, Chibi Jinx. Let's
No.
go.
No.
The Chibi Yasuo next set, it's time.
Oh,
I'm
It's
fucking
time.
dropping everything. All the branding
He's gonna
around
have
Silver
Chibis
Lane,
running around all
no,
over the
no,
place.
no shots, Yasuo every game.
Little Legend
You know-
branding is a thing. Like actually.
The reason
Yeah.
that I got into TFT was this. I played League so I could get all of the Jinx skins, and then I basically pivoted to TFT. I was like, I know there's gonna be a Jinx cosmetic coming out soon, and then we got Powder from Arcane. It's 2 free.
There you go. There you go. We do have another question for you, Panda, which I know you talked about a little bit earlier. But maybe you want to go more in depth with the actual first experience here. What was your first experience with casting and how did that come to be? Because you mentioned it was Gwent. Maybe your first actual event or something.
So you guys know Life Coach?
Yes.
He's a Heartstone pro player. Was kind of like a father figure and a very interesting personality because he was much older, much more experienced, and he came from poker. He became, I'm not gonna say rich. Maybe that's a bit too. I don't know that much. Oh, I kind of do, but he became comfortable in life after poker, and then he got into Hearthstone esports, and he got into Gwent esports when they came out. So it was a very rewarding game for an analytical player and a rational player. It was very rewarding, not a lot of variance for a CCG, and he hosted these tournaments in Vienna, and he has a mansion with an indoor pool. I guess rich, yeah. And he hosted these community tournaments called Gwent Slams, and he would invite players from around the world to Vienna to compete in these tournaments. And I was invited to the very first one because I was a very high ranked on ladder, and I'd actually interviewed him because I was doing writing pieces as well for a database website for Gwent. And so we had a relationship. We played each other a lot on ladder as well. So he invited me. I lost in the first round, but because it was kind of a community tournament, wasn't very official. It was more like a half party, half tournament. Whoever wasn't playing could go into they had a broadcast booth downstairs, and they could cast the matches that were being broadcasted online. So I lost round 1. I didn't have anything else to do the rest of the tournament, so I just got into the broadcast desk. I pretty much casted the whole tournament, and it was right before CDPR launched their official esports circuit, and they really liked how I explained things. And obviously, at that time, I was a very high level player, so I could understand exactly what all the players were doing, what their strategies were, and explain everything very properly to the audience. And so they just offered me the position. I knew that as a player, it's much harder to have a stable income and have it be your full-time thing, because you can get, especially in card games and poker and TFT, there's variance. You can get unlucky and not make any money or not even qualify to a tournament maybe. And with casting, it's much more stable. So I just thought that would be a better idea. I enjoyed casting at that time, and I'm happy I made the decision because I liked it a lot. And I think for the long term, if you're good at a game and you're successful and the game dies, all that experience doesn't really translate kind of job experience wise, but with casting it kind of does. Not just with casting, but maybe in the future I want to do stuff within esports, more management stuff or just behind the scenes stuff, kind of more big picture stuff. So I think casting was a good idea for that. And I think I'm maybe on my way there after these 5 years. So that was the first experience. And then just with Gwent after that, CPR hired me, I just did the whole circuit with them, and then Artifact, Underlords, Runeterra, TFT.
Sweet. Man, it's still that situation kind of blows. That's anime as fuck. It's kind of cringe to say anime as fuck in any setting at all, but that's anime as fuck.
Wait, I kind of wanna hop in with my own question here. Actually, this is very very pointed towards Panda because he has a history with Underlords, and I have a history with Underlords, and I wonder if I were to ask Panda the question, I'm not gonna ask is TFT better than Underlords, because I feel like as an Underlords player, I know your answer. I want to know how much better is TFT compared to Underlords. How much better do you think TFT is compared to Underlords?
So I got into Underlords because I was playing Artifact when it came out, and that was Dota or Valve launching their card games. That was a huge deal. Obviously, I was playing Gwent and casting Gwent, but I wanted to work in other CGGs and find more opportunities. I played Artifact a lot. I was in the closed beta tests. I worked with Valve in the very closed beta stuff with very high level players from other CCGs. And so I was very involved with Valve, and I had a good relationship with developers and with the people running tournaments and all that. So when Underlords released, I kind of wanted to use that same networking to find more opportunities in casting and stuff. But after Artifact, I had a lot of faith in Valve as a company, and I thought, they're very competent. They're a huge company. How can they not be competent. They know what they're doing. And slowly with Artifact, I realized that wasn't the case with just how they launched. They were very entitled in their launch and they made so many mistakes, not just in the game being bad. I thought the game was amazing, but everything around the game was terrible. And their outlook on everything was just really bad. And with Underlords, it was similar. I think they weren't a competent team. They didn't have experience in the multiplayer esports system. And so, yeah, after a while, there just wasn't much to it. And then the game just fizzled out and died like Artifact did. And I wasn't surprised. So TFT is infinitely ahead of Underlords. And
I remember like switching from Underlords to TFT. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. like the polish, the competence. I'm someone that values competence above all else.
The transparency from the team, like from the player perspective, is like we have it like right now as like in the TFT scene, we have it so lucky, I would say.
Yeah. With Mord especially, I mean, it's. I think people don't know. I think unless you see like the other side of it, you're not able to be as grateful as you should be with how well TFT is run in especially the development side of things and the game and the polish and the content and how fast you get new updates and new stuff and how engaging it is. I think more can be done from the esports side. I think still it's improved a lot. I think especially in Set 6, but the game itself I think is incredible.
You know, this is actually a very not known thing, but I technically started in Underlords too. I played one game in college. Well, I think I was drunk, and I did not do well, and I stopped playing it altogether. I'd never played an Autochess game. I tried one game. And this is it. I'm done.
Oh, Underlords had some Woksh builds. They had some. There were some broken stuff in there.
The best thing though, RamKev, and you'll agree with me, is the tabbing and seeing everyone's comp and the items and stuff.
Oh,
that is one thing TFT is missing. That was so good.
That made scouting so easy.
Yes,
if we could have one thing in TFT, that would be like,
that is
we have to like scroll through everybody and be like, this is what this person has, this is what this person has. Underlords, they had like a full interface. They would tell you every single unit, every single item, all of the synergies that they had active.
Ooh. That was really good.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to let you pick our last question, Panda. We have two you can pick from. One is our favorite set of all time, and the other one is about league system versus tourney system in TFT. Up to you.
I'll go with favorite set, just to hear all three of you and your opinions. I only really played Set 3 and Set 6. I missed 4 and 5. 1 and 2 barely didn't play them enough, I think. And Set 3, I don't remember much. So Set 6 is my favorite. It's the only option I have. But I want to hear what you three, so I can get more, insight into the history of TFT that I missed. So I can, piece together, get the pieces of the puzzle, basically.
Yeah, we can just go around in a circle. Well, let's go clockwise. I think that makes Kevin next.
How does a clock go? Oh, okay, yeah, all right. I think my favorite set is like Set 4 by far. I think a lot of people just aesthetically, I think it was like the best set. I think in terms of aesthetics, a lot of people, I've heard a lot of people recently starting to say this. It's like, the Set 4 was like a huge high point, and then you go to Set 5, which was all green. So, I mean, Panda's not aware of this, but like Set 5 was like,
I've heard some stuff, yeah. But all the shop was all green, yeah.
Dark, green, barf colored units everywhere. Set 5 is Set 6 is sort of similar in that sense because it's arcane themed. You have these Kimtech units. You have they added another green trait. But also Set 4 has some of the coolest legendaries, a lot of really cool carries in my opinion. They had a lot of very satisfying carries. Especially around the 4 cost. They had Ash, Ranger Ash. They had Jin, so the old Jin with his 4th shot that would just one tap front line, right? Unlike this Jin, because this Jin is the AoE, but that Jin was just I'm hitting this unit, boom, and then go on to the next one, boom, you're dead. It was oh, what a great set. I still think about Set 4 sometimes.
Yeah,
it's like the Wolverine meme with the laying in bed. Caressing.
Okay. I can't decide between 3.5 and 6. 3.5 is my favorite set for the longest time, and then after Set 6, I was like, okay, maybe this is my favorite set, and I haven't been able to decide yet. So I'll say 3.5 for now because I fucking love 3.5. I think I have a lot of nostalgia for it because it was like I was so bad at TFT and I was like trying to get good at TFT, and I was like, it was the first that I got hit Challenger, and I was still really bad at TFT, but like. Yeah, I remember like the first time I ever got in a lobby with someone I knew, like I got in the Scar lobby and I freaked the fuck out because like Scar is in my lobby, I have a lot of really good memories at 3.5. So I think that would probably be my favorite set. Maybe 6 though, we'll see.
Was Mecha Assassins and Darkstone all this? Was that set 3 or set 3.5?
That was
So-
mainly set 3, yeah.
The Mech
Yeah, maybe set
Infiltrator
three.
was set 3.
Okay,
Set
okay.
3.5. They added in there was like a.
It was like
There was the
Mystic
new-
Vanguard,
the new-
Star Guardian, Mech was good.
It was like Mech with
Oh.
Victor. Mech
I played a
with
bit
yeah,
of
Mech-
3.5, I think. A little bit. I think.
Yeah.
Battle
Urgot.
Tanks
They
was
added
good.
Urgot, right?
Yeah, he would eat people. Just like
Like
one
people. Yeah.
With like a claw thing that would like grab you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he'd
yeah.
hook them and they'd go,
Okay. Yeah. I
You
played a
know,
bit. I played a bit as well. Yeah. I have some like nightmare traumatic memories are coming back. The sound is better. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, no, that set's amazing. I love that set.
Yeah, well, I have 2. Can't decide between. 3.5, I think, is the most just raw fun I've had playing TFT. Mainly because Astro Snipers is my favorite comp of all time.
Oh,
Watching fucking Teemo blow up teams with fucking mushrooms and then Jin just finishing everyone off with force shot was so much fun to fucking watch. And also that version of Mech with the like, oh, you just hit all 1-stars and you build fucking Titan Resolve Hand of Justice and it's unkillable. It was fun. That was the comp I learned open forwarding with, actually, which has fed
Tricky
into
game.
the raw degeneracy for the recent sets. But the other one, I feel like such a weirdo for this. I love 6.5. I did not like 6. I feel like a weirdo for saying set 6 is in my bottom half of sets. Like the sets I enjoyed. Was it a well designed set? Maybe. I don't know. I don't really want to speak to that much, but in terms of enjoyment, I fucking hated playing set 6. It was just the augments, how they were set up in set 6 were not fun to me. I think with all the improvements to the augment system, set 6.5 has been infinitely more fun for me. I mean, also because of Talon, like duh, and it's like getting known for that. But I think like I stuck around and I started spamming Talon because Talon was fun, but also playing around the augments was this set. I didn't when I was looking at all the added augments, I was so worried about augment balance. I was so worried that like, oh, they augment balance sucked and they're just all going to add all these new ones. Augment balance is going to be even more garbage. But I think augment balance is so much better because they're adding in all these rules. And I don't know. I don't know what it is. I absolutely love 6.5. Like I'd put it up there with 3.5 for me.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think that as much as it's in private opinion, I totally agree. 6.5 is really good. I like 6.5 a lot. People like the
I mean,
6.1,
one thing we can all agree on, we'll just stick set 5 straight at the bottom.
Yeah.
Oh,
the
yeah.
garbage bin.
Yeah.
that one's
Even-
in the shitter.
even-
Don't know why, but
Even
agree.
though that is this. I have
You don't
fond
wanna know
memories
why.
of set 4.5 and
Don't.
5 because like that's when I came up like in the competitive scene. Fuck those sets. Goddamn.
Set 5 was so bad.
It was Panda, you sitting on set 5.
The big brain play.
Yeah,
I should have
big brain play.
stayed for set 4
play.
and then just left for set 5 for Runeterra
Yeah,
and then came back
exactly.
for set 6.
Yeah.
I almost did the perfect play. It was close enough though.
Set 5 was they were dark times, both like aesthetically and literally.
So the question is, would you guys agree to not have played set 4 to avoid set 5 in your memories like I did? Was it worth the trade-off?
Oh, I would take set 4. I would, if I had to play set 5, I'd just,
All right. So set 4 was really good.
I-
then, huh?
I would happily
in my
take that.
opinion, I really,
That
yeah.
bundle, yeah. I would
Okay.
take that. Because I actually did have some fun in set 5 because that was when I started the cab spam in set 5 and also like redeemed Vel'Koz was a comp. So like I still got to spam my shit and like the shit I was spamming I had fun with, but
Velcos was in
Fuck set
3.5 as well, no?
Yeah, he
Okay.
was.
No, Velcos was in 3.
Wait, no, he
Velcos
was.
got removed.
Yeah,
from
never mind. He was
3.5.
in
The
3,
void,
and then
the
they took out
void.
the 3.5.
I had forgotten
Was
about
it
that. This just
Sword?
came back to me now because you mentioned it. I'm like,
Yeah,
I
I
remember
don't
corner.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd give up on set 5 because set 5 is where I got so mad I was so bad that I got good. So if I got rid of set 5, I'd probably still be bad at TFT.
This is the arc I have to get on now for set 7. Hopefully set 6 I'm like onboarding, and now set 7 I can actually develop my skill outside of just playing talent to challenger.
Set 5
hated set
started
5
my
so
2
much.
cost degeneracy. So we'll keep
I legit for set 5 I legit stopped playing the game. I've never stopped playing TFT. I've never nothing has really made me stop playing TFT except for set 5 after like bad patch after bad patch after bad patch. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. We all have fun memories of that. That's where I found out I was bad at TFT. On top of the set being bad. So it was a bad set for me. Yeah. Basically, fuck set 5 and every other set's goated in comparison. So the answer to the question is every set but 5, I will say.
And set 7 is about to be the best set of all time.
Oh
I
yeah.
agree.
Hands up.
Oh yeah. I'm waiting for
Were y'all on the
like,
playtest? Or
I
No,
was.
I wasn't. Oh shit.
Uh,
I was not.
Can you
Oh,
you can't leave.
Is it fun?
But my-
drop
my
the
Panda.
lips are
You can't leave.
redacted.
literally just tell us. Is
It's
it
not.
fun?
It's not green. It's not green and mushy and Kentucky
Great,
and set
great.
5 greeny for
Is it fun?
RamKev.
I'm
So
hearing it's fun. I'm excited.
I saw some spoilers on the subreddit. I don't know how true these are. One thing I'm sad about, if you don't want to be spoiled about potentially real spoilers, close your ears. Apparently, there's no Udyr.
Small.
Oh no. Let's
And
go
I
say it.
am heartbroken. I am heartbroken.
I've been instructed to not comment on the leaks on Reddit, so I will.
I assume you have an NDA.
I will plead the
yeah.
fifth.
Yeah.
NDA.
Yeah.
NDA.
All right, but so before we get Panda in trouble, that'll do it for us today. Thank you so much, Panda, for coming on. That was super awesome. I appreciate all your wisdom and your official broadcasting.
Wisdom makes me sound much older than I am, Appies. Please.
Wait,
I am
how old are
only
you?
27 years of age.
You're
Soon-
young
soon to be
person
28.
wisdom.
Thank you.
Experience. It's all about experience.
Oh yeah, exactly. And then thank you as always to Riley, RamKev, and Mateo for being a producer. Okay, one of them is a producer, the other two are hosts. They can decide that among themselves who's who. But
I'll be Mateo next week. Yeah.
Pago. And then we do have a Patreon now. If anyone is interested in that, it's below the Twitch channel. It should be in the YouTube link as well. If you want to support us, we have a couple cool benefits for that. And Defeated Mateo is one of them. He has a pasta budget, which does sound mildly racist, but we're gonna move on. We also make sure to like, subscribe and follow whatever you do on all the platforms. I don't know what button's on which platform, but you know, you're looking at the button. I know you listener, you're looking at the button. You know what it is. I'll catch you later. Goodbye. Bye.
Pop
See
friend.
ya.
Pop friend. Oh,
How do you know which one to do every time?
yeah.
Is it this
right?
50-50. You either know or you don't. That's the NA player, right?